What is going on, everyone? My name is Drew Spencer with the React and Attack Football Podcast, where we try and go over NFL content from all 32 teams every single day. And boy, oh boy, there's always something going on in the NFL world. And if you like what you hear, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's go. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. As a 49er fan, I am absolutely stunned and shocked that they came away with the 23-19 victory in Philadelphia on the road in brutal conditions with the wind howling and just everything in the atmosphere of the playoffs. Obviously, Philly a hard place to play, and the 49ers came into town and delivered. And hey, look, as you know, I'm a big Niner fan. you know, as we've gone through this game and, or over this season, I should say, there's been so many injuries to just every level. And I thought after the Tatum Bethune and just going down to just no linebackers outside of the guys like Eric Kendricks that we just signed and Garrett Wallow, who we brought up, I was like, man, there's no way we're going to be able to stop Saquon Barkley if they can get him going. And yet, even though I would like to be like, I told you so, we were going to win, this was such an amazing victory for the Niners. Probably one of my favorite victories we've had because I went into this game thinking, I don't know. I think we're gonna play it well. I think we're gonna fight to the last man. And the scene from Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, where King Theoden of Rohan is like, like fight to the last man. He screams death as the charge. That's how I feel because the Niners again this game. It's not like we won this game and everyone got to hold hands and be happy. No, George Kittle in this game at one point goes down around the early second quarter with an Achilles injury, and it just kind of seems like more the same. And yet, this team in its tenacity against adversity is unprecedented. Um, Obviously, there's a lot to go into with this game, but first and foremost, uh, hats off to the coaching staff here on both sides, Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. But obviously, Robert Saleh. I mean, this defense was swarming. Usually I start with offense and stuff. I'm just doing this off the top of my head because this game was just crazy. This defense was absolutely swarming. And now look, not as much pressure as you would like. No sacks on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had damn near all day. Well, I think maybe there was a sack towards the end, but Jalen Hurts kind of fell forward and it was like a loss of one. Either way, it doesn't matter. Defensively, the coverage and the secondary absolutely stepped up. The linebackers between Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow, as I've said before, they stepped up immensely. And, Saquon initially just ruptured off for I think the first quarter he was already around like 80 yards. And it almost looked like, oh, what are we going to do to stop this? As he was it seemed like just breaking up yards. But then finally, that D line and the linebackers and just showing different stunts and different blitz packages and just things along that nature that turned things around. And then suddenly Saquon was getting tackled in the backfield. Now, he still had over 100 yards and was still very effective today. It's not like we completely neutralized him, but I mean, we're talking about a guy who almost won MVP last year and, thinking that with Eric Kendricks, who I'll bet a veteran player, a beast, obviously, but older, wasn't playing for most of the year until we signed him a month ago. And then Garrett Wallow getting called up and Kaiser White and just I don't know. This defense is unreal. These guys are playing at such a high level that no one would really expect. I mean, so many of these guys are younger players, rookies like Upton Stout, who's been phenomenal. Renardo Green was phenomenal today. The defensive line, I just felt like everyone, even though they didn't bring it home, they still brought at least enough to disrupt Jalen, at least to get into his head mentally. And what just so amazing. Just an absolute dominant performance by a defense that I don't think anyone suspected was going to do well. Obviously, not everything was, completely perfect for this Niners team. Offensively, there was a lot of struggles, but you have to give a lot of credit and kudos to this Eagles defense who did a really good job containing. They picked off Brock Purdy twice. We'll talk a little bit more about Purdy in a second, but um, just a lot of credit to them overall. And, for the first half, kept Christian McCaffrey pretty damn bottled up. And if you were to, in the first half, if, you would have told me, it's like, hey, don't worry, Christian McCaffrey's going to get over 100 scrimmage yards and be a pivotal factor. I was like, how? Like, that's honestly, like, in the moment, uh, um, it didn't seem like Christian McCaffrey was going to do damn near anything. Um, Obviously, though, we'll start with it, the offense and Brock Purdy. First play of the game, it's that 61-yard or so reception to Demarcus Robinson, who had a hell of a night. You know, every game this season, it's a broken record. Well, so and so, hopefully, this guy at this position group can step up. And every damn game, we're asking someone to step up. And today, not saying that Demarcus Robinson hasn't done this in the past, but Demarcus Robinson absolutely crushed it today. He was very much our perimeter, kind of more vertical route runner there to take that top off because as Juwan is so good underneath and over the middle. Same with KB. He was really the guy stretching the field, trying to put the verticality on it, and he was just fighting for every extra yard. So shout out there. But yeah, that's the first play. And then the Niners cap it off with a touchdown. And I'm like, okay, but is this going to be like a Bears game? Are we going to have to? And that was my mindset because then the following drive, the Eagles score basically right away. They missed the point after, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, man, they just marched down our throats with Saquon there just as fast as we went down the field on them. And then it started stagnating out. Philly got their offense rolling and their defense rolling at the time. Um, and the Niners offense started to plunge after that, multiple three and outs. And then having a chance there at the end of the second quarter, Purdy, it's a good design play, but he, stutter steps a little bit to try and get a few more yards, fumbles the ball, but as he goes out of bounds, run off the clock because of the prior, they called the timeout because Kendrick Bourne wasn't set. I mean, again, these guys are just getting thrown into this, and it's super loud environment, and it seemed like hell in a handbasket for us, honestly. Like, it seemed like there was nothing we were going to be able to do offensively after that, and just walk away with no points on that drive. It was looking pretty grim, and then Brock Purdy follows it up and throws a pick later, like early on in the third, and the Eagles though can't do anything, and obviously the offense starts cooking a little bit. Brock had 2 interceptions this game, and, some people, initially were upset. I wasn't. I tried to remain calm because it's Brock. Brock's my guy, man. Like, he's so good. And really in the playoffs, and I think it was, you know, Tom Brady announcing it, saying, like, it really matters about, like, when it comes down to these final moments here, can you shrug off and have a short memory about these picks and just go down the field. And then Brock Purdy in that final drive was ice in his veins, absolutely perfect. Obviously, the shout out to Jawan Jennings, who had the crazy trick pass play where it fooled even me in mid watch of it, and throw to Christian McCaffrey. And to finish this segment up a little bit more about the offense, Christian McCaffrey, I can go all day about him. Over 100 scrimmage yards. He is this team. Um, He's not going to win MVP. I'm not saying he should in the traditional sense, but in my opinion, Christian McCaffrey is the MVP of this team. and should be of this league because of how far this team has gotten. When this guy is carrying and touching the ball at an astronomical rate, it unbelievable. Um, this offense is just it's just been so incredible when Christian McCaffrey can get going. And it took damn near till the, midway of the fourth quarter for that to happen because of how well the Eagles defense had contained and played that assignment. But you just give him too many attempts, too many looks, too many touches. Eventually, Christian McCaffrey is going to do something incredible. That's his job, and he's been insane at it even since his days at Stanford. As for the Eagles, where they go from here, um, again, from the outside looking in, this Eagles team has so much talent, and this offense today was so incompetent and stagnant outside the first half. Yes, Saquon got going. But once the Niners were able to key in and did a better job than I think even the Eagles were expecting, uh, and really tried to limit him and getting the offensive line to, you know, not fill in those holes so that Saquon can be patient to hit him and is getting wrapped in the backfield. Jalen Hurts, again, as I've mentioned before, he had all damn day to throw. And yet he felt like that mental clock in him was like, hey, I got to get it out. And then when he did, he was let down routinely by guys like A.J. Brown, who all this season, there's been those little rumors of, oh, I want traded, and then it's a big nothing burger, and that's what I thought too, But it's like, dude, like we need you now, and there was two throws to him out of his hands, right in the breadbasket, in multiple crucial moments. Um, Devonta Smith had one drop. The other one that he had was really good coverage. I'm not gonna blame him on that, but yeah, and it really seemed like only it was Dallas Goddard, and he was like, if you look at that fourth down conversion they had towards the end of the game before the penultimate fourth down before it was the end of the game. Um, y- you know, uh, Jalen Hurts finds Dallas Goddard against Malik Mustafa, but if you look at the rest of the coverage, no one else was open, and you have to be so thankful that the will linebacker decided like, oh, I'm gonna take off and disguise and run to this other side and left that whole thing open for it. And obviously, it didn't amount to the way that the Eagles wanted, but it really just seemed that the rest of the receivers were doing jack all today. Like I don't know what is going on. I mean, I do. It's the offensive coordinator needs to be gone. And I think, it goes to show that who is running, this team. Because this team, again, has too much damn talent on it to lose to the 49 IRs. Like, honestly, this year, especially at home. Uh, just, I'm not trying to pile on and be mean as a Niner fan. I'm really not. It just seemed like this game was like, okay, they can relax. Like the moment I saw that, like, oh, we have to, because the Rams won, we don't play the Panthers, who also played a really good game as well. But we have to go to Philly. It totally changed my outlook on the playoff picture. And I was like, damn, because I know how great this defense has been. It's been a phenomenal defense. I put it up there with the Texans and Seahawks defense. It's been phenomenal this year. And guys have been relatively healthy. Obviously, not so much on the offensive line, but again, so much time for Jalen Hurts to deliver and throw, and he couldn't do it. The mental clock wasn't there. It just seemed like this entire offense has regressed to a point that it makes no sense. Uh they have to figure that out. And if they can't make those changes quickly, I, I'm not saying they should move off Sirianni. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach, but I mean, like, if he's so reliant on trying to find the right offensive coordinator, and then when they do a good job, they're just going to get poached. It's really difficult to succeed in that way. So Yeah, very difficult loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, yeah, I I'm sure some Eagles fans out there could have maybe seen this coming from a mile away, but not me. Just an absolute utter collapse from this offense when Eagles defense did more than enough to win this game. Looking forward for the rest of this Niners season, I was so prepared to make a video today saying, man, you know, we had such good ability. We had, we just couldn't make it through the adversity. No, not today. Not today. And I want to touch up on that because, you know, we're going into Seattle next week. A team that in the first week of the season, we beat them there. We did. But that was obviously at the beginning of the year when most of the team was pretty healthy, even though we still lost players that game. And we played a tough game against them where we lost and clearly were outmatched against Seattle in that, final game to decide who gets the one seed. And I've been sitting here most of this season saying, this has been it's been a bittersweet season because so many guys have been hurt, but we've had so many guys step up and be amazing. And guys no one's heard of. Every game, every week's one of those guys is making a big play at a pivotal moment and saying, "Hey, we're part of this team. We're all together with it." And I love it. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, the participation trophies are not going to come. The injuries that are stacked up so much are biting us in the ass. But yet here we are still fighting. And I think it's easy for me to be like, well, if we, whether we would have lost tonight or, we lose next week or whenever, right? If that's the case, to be like, well, you know what? We still had a good season. I can't have that mentality yet because that sure as shit is not the mentality of the 49ers team right now. They know their asses are down. They're used to it at this point. If anything, the only consolation we can get out of this outside of a Super Bowl win would be for us to most likely, fire our fucking, conditioning guy because it's been terrible for years. But regardless, I don't want us to make excuses because here we are. And it's still in front of us. We can't give in and we can't give up. We have to fight till the last man. And I'm not saying that no matter what happens, we shouldn't hang our hat on this season and be happy that these young guys are stepping up and could potentially be future aspects for us and become stars themselves. Absolutely. There is a lot to like about this season. It's bittersweet in that sense. But this team is not done yet. They are not folding into that sympathy like some fans are, including myself. What do you mean? Oh, it was a good season? No. We're going to make it a fucking great season. And we're going to fight you until literally the last man. And I love it. So moving forward, we play Seattle in Seattle. That crazy hard game. There is make no mistake about it. But we're used to this. We've been here. And we're going to give it our all. It has given me the vibes of that 21 season. I just hope it has a different ending than that one, obviously. But where it seemed like we were counted out against the Packers in Lambeau that year, and everyone saying no shot, no chance, including my own self. I said, hey, we have, any given Sunday, But even me, I was like, "Oh, it's I don't think it's gonna be a tough one to pull out," and we did. Anything's possible with this team. Losing George Kittle sets us back a hell of a ton. No doubt about it. You know, but we just got to persevere. We just got to persevere and fight forward. Um, Excited to see what the rest of this playoff entails for us. Um, the Niners are still alive. They are still alive. And we are here to continue that as far as we possibly can. So, anyways, yeah, thanks. Go Niners.